Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Skyliners and Skywatchers. Welcome to the Vash Sky ParkCast. My name is Vash Sky. I'm going to be host of today's D23 day at Disneyland. I suppose that is what we are celebrating today. It is D23 week, as we have been discussing here on the last couple of programs, whether it be on That Park Place or Vash Sky ParkCast. And to kick off D23, the expo that is, or I guess it's the ultimate fan event now, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, the festivities really do kick off roughly on Thursday. Now, historically, what they have done Thursday night leading up to the expo is they have the media actually go through, and they have them shown all of the models, all of the floor accoutrement, that kind of thing. And so from the experiences, I suppose, pavilion there, whatever that happens to be this year. It's all going to be based around, I believe, Carousel of Progress right there. Previously, it was Carousel of Progress. Very interesting. This time around, they're going to be having them go through perhaps the Piston Peak model, perhaps models associated with Tropical Americas, perhaps the Lion King over there at Disneyland Paris, and so much more. We should be getting those updates tonight from the various media personalities like maybe Mouse Planet, Mouse Info, Mice Chat, maybe the LA Times. All of those distinct media entities should be shown through the D23 or Anaheim Convention Center. Very, very interesting. We'll be tracking if any of that actually hits the show while we're actually live. Should be pretty cool. But first off, we've got Day at Disneyland, or I should say D23 Day at Disneyland, to be more precise. Before going over that, though, we've got to go ahead and recognize a couple of people who have been unbelievably generous, like Just Dutchy right here, gifting 10 Vash Sky ParkCast memberships right off the bat. I mean, before we were even live, I think it was like an hour ago. Yeah, 11:30 a.m., at least my time, is when she sent that in right there. 11:30 a.m. would be 2:30? p.m. Eastern right there. Very, very cool. Thank you so much for that. We have Webster. We have Marthy FPS, I do believe. T Snow. Pixel Ghost right there. Or PYXL. Pixel Ghost. There you go. Maybe we have Whistling Age. Mr. Bryant right there. Racing Worldwide. Native Hawaiian, which is very, very cool. Thank you so much. And Linda Burns, all getting those gifted memberships from Just a Dutchy right there. And with those gifted memberships, oh my goodness gracious, when you become a Skywatcher, you do get access to the Vash and Vixen program at 3 p.m. Eastern every single Saturday right there, which is going to be interesting this Saturday because we have D23 coverage to go over. And that should be very, very cool. I wanted an answer to my inquiries with That Park Place crew on what's actually going to be happening Saturday. But regardless of what happens, definitely going to be doing a watch-along of the Experiences showcase or the Experiences panel there. That's going to be at 7 p.m. PT or 10 p.m. Eastern. That should be a lot of fun. Again, it's a watch-along, so if you have Disney Plus, you can watch along with us. We can't stream it here, but we can at least give you guys the, instantaneous reaction right there, the watch along, provide maybe some more context. I know they have those musical interludes, which we can also provide commentary on, and then we should be able to maybe call some people coming out of the actual event. That should be a lot of fun. So it's going to be at 7 p.m. California time or 10 p.m. Eastern right there. So very, very cool. Awesome stuff. I'm going to try to see whether or not what That Park Place wants to do. I hate to split the audience, so if I end up on that program, obviously we'll have posts. We'll have everything going towards that direction. But if not, you'll be coming here. So just stay tuned right there in our coverage, but we're definitely going to cover that. There's no question. If they're going to live stream it, it's going to be for public viewing and public consumption. We want to be part of that. That is absolutely for sure. Just Dutchy, thank you so much. That is awesome, though. I know she was saying, hey, are you at 13K yet? We're not at 13K just yet. We are so very close. And you are right. That does indeed assist. Thank you so much, Just Dutchy. And Juliet coming on in here with the £5 British sterling evening Vash Sky ParkCast. Skyliners, and Sky Watchers. Thank you so much, Juliet. You are awesome stuff right there every single time. Fantastic. Real Ventures coming on in here with the $5 D23 prediction, more construction walls, and what is it? Trash cans. Yeah, exactly. That's very true. I do believe we have something for that.
Turn the others into trash cans.
See you later, trash cans.
Oh, I love that clip from Captain EO. I know somebody who loves it just as much as I do. It is Disney Fan 55 coming on in here. Hello there, producer extraordinaire.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I am so excited to be here. This is something people wait for years, literally.
Yes.
To see what they're going to bring out, what's going to be new happening, and so it's a really exciting time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's no question about that. We are all extremely excited to see what D23 has to offer this time around. But we got quite the showcase, actually, from the day at D23. D23 day at Disneyland. There you go. I got it. I'm going to eventually get this, and I'm not going to actually, stumble over it. But regardless, right here, it is kind of a new-ish event that they have hosted the last couple of D23 go-rounds right there. It wasn't a thing when I went to D23 back in 2011. But I do like how the company is finally leveraging its proximity to the event with Disneyland. Literally, Disneyland Resort sits right across from Catella from the Anaheim Convention Center. It's right across the street. And so it's kind of like, hey, why don't you have some incorporation of Disneyland, Walt's original park, in this whole event right here? So it's been pretty cool to actually see the festivities as they are happening at D23 Day at Disneyland. Very, very cool stuff right there. Obviously, Anaheim Convention Center being the place where D23, the Ultimate Fan Event, is held every single time the event goes on, which is every other year. But you can see right here, they actually were giving out some very, very cool D23 Day at Disneyland hats, ear hats right there at the front gates. You can see all of those ear hats actually lined up. That's super, super cool. I know that they rarely give out anything for free anymore, as we all know. But back in the day, I do remember the 50th anniversary of Disneyland, for the golden anniversary that was back in 2005, July 17th, and they gave out golden Mickey ear hats. It was awesome. It was super cool, and to actually get something like this is just fantastic. I love this. I love how they actually do this right here, and they had plenty to go around, and I believe even a few hours into the operation of Disneyland that today, you can actually see that ear hats were still available. I do think they ran out. I got reports that they did, but if you were there, one of the lucky ones to actually get an ear hat, that is pretty cool. That is awesome.
So cool. That's so cool. You remember the last time that they handed out hats like this?
Yes.
We got one.
That's true.
We could show it one time. It was the 50th anniversary. So it's really, really cool to see everybody wearing them all day long. It's a cool little thing that they're doing.
This is a cool little, like I was saying before, a cool little thing. Kind of see a photo
That's
of
nice.
that right there. Yeah, it's and some people were saying, it's a little flimsy, and it's like, well, they're giving out like 25,000 of them, so yeah, they're gonna be maybe not the best pristine quality, but it's pretty consistent with when they actually give out hats. So I love the gesture. I love making it a big event, and well, there's much, much more. Not just the displays and so forth, which look pretty cool. Also, the launch of D23 exclusive merchandise at Disneyland right there. You can see the lines for the Emporium. Ooh, boy, they are a stretching right there. This was taken this morning by Disney Scoop Guy, which is very, very cool. Laughing Place also having immaculate coverage of this event. Mouse Planet right there. Scott Houston himself down there right now, actually filming all the festivities. You can see there's a lot of stuff going on right now. And you can see the line just stretching all the way down Main Street in order to get in at that exclusive merchandise event in the Emporium right there to celebrate D23. Also, too, some characters making an appearance. I have never seen this before. So to have a face character meet and greet with the Blue Fairy out there, I believe this is near and around Pinocchio, which would make sense. The dark ride in Disneyland's Fantasyland. You can see right there. Look at that. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. These
Absolutely
photos from
gorgeous.
Mouse Planet right there.
She's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. That's what I'm saying. So in Hollywood, you can get these characters that look just like the character. You can get these cast members that can really play it up. She is perfect. She is absolutely perfect. Beautiful.
Absolutely. You can see this here, video taken by Just Ask Danny over there, part of the Five Fires crew. Awesome stuff, Danny's. Wonderful. Fantastic source of insight right there. But yeah, there you go. Like, you know, kind of meet and greeting with everybody. That was kind of cool. Also, too, we got Merlin, which is a very rare appearance for Disneyland right there. He was doing his thing. This video from Disney Scoop Guy right now. Look at that right there. You don't often see Merlin in Fantasyland anymore. They used to have a show back in the 90s, and I believe 80s, if I'm not mistaken, for this new Fantasyland area. They used to have a show in which, you know, they would have this kind of wizarding act, as you can kind of roughly see it right there with Merlin, and then all of a sudden, you know, he would pick out a random guest, or, you know, from the crowd right there. Usually it's a little child or a kid, have them come up and actually pull that sword out. That was super, super cool. Unfortunately, they haven't done that for quite some time. Only having been done sporadically between now and the 1990s right there. But to have Merlin out, that is cool. Love that.
Really cool.
Love that.
Love it. I love it. You see the kids. They're so excited. Everybody tries to pull that. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the one to pull it. But it's too bad they don't have it, you know, off and all, you know, anymore. But I think this is a really, really cool. To bring out these rare characters is really, really neat.
Yes, rare characters. Love the rare characters. Even rarer, though, than face characters are actual Disney legends. Here you go. Scott Guston talking about finding some legends. Apparently there was a Legends Cavalcade that was conducted right here. This is awesome. I love this stuff right here. You can see in these two photos provided by Scott Guston, you can see the fire truck, the famous Disneyland fire truck, actually designed by Bob Gurr, and obviously the omnibus trailing right behind it, filled with all kinds of legends. It is crazy right here. The most prominent in these photos, Joe Rohde and Tony Baxter, needing no introductions. And I have to say who they are. You know who they are. But even behind Tony Baxter right here, Wing Chow, famous for the Disney Cruise Line and establishing the Disney Cruise Line for Disney at Imagineering. Floyd Norman, a classic Disney animator going back to Walt's day right there. Jodie Benson up on top. Let's see if we can get some video actually of this. This by Five Fires right here. You can see what is going on. I'm going to go ahead and mute that real fast. But like I was saying before, Jodie Benson, the voice, let me just see my notes right here. Of course, Ariel from Little Mermaid. But Linda Larkin, speaking voice of Jasmine right there. Ming Na Wan, the voice of Mulan. Paige O'Hara, the voice of Belle up there that you can see. Right there, look at that. Paige O'Hara herself, that's pretty cool. You saw Robert Coltrane right there, the Imagineer behind such classics as Pooh Honey Hunt, Expedition Everest, Mickey's Floor Magic, and so much more. You have Mark Henn up there as well, famous Disney animator from the Renaissance era right there. It's just too much to count. You also have on the lower part right there, look at that, even more legends. That is very, very cool right there. You have Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, that was on the omnibus right there. You have David Stollery, who actually made an appearance on the Mickey Mouse Club back in the day. So that's very, very cool. Let's see if we can get some more video from this. Absolutely fantastic. Oop. Go ahead and mute that right there. This video by Travel T Magic, do believe. See some characters. Also, too, the firehouse filled with Kim Irvine, Disney Imagineer. We've talked about her at length before. Eric Goldberg, animator, famous animator of The Genie, and so much more during the Renaissance era. Susan Egan, the voice of Meg, also on that fire truck. That's cool. And I do love this shot. Now, you're going to see some classic characters and some noteworthy characters that make very rare appearances. The Disneyland Main Street Band right there. See Peter Pan, we've been talking about him a lot, and he's all over social media right now. Pinocchio Geppetto right there, that's very, very cool. Mad Hatter. But if we go past right there, Bob Gurr sitting at the front. It's so cool that he gets to ride in a vehicle that he made, 70 years ago or so. That's very awesome. Tom
That is
Nabe,
so cool. He's one of the last. That new Walt. I mean, it's a dying breed, and so he's hitting 100 pretty soon.
is he?
It's amazing. Yes.
I know Bob Gurr was extremely young when he started his work at Imagineering right there. Kind of, Raleigh Crump. I mean, even younger than Raleigh Crump, but it was very interesting. You there had people who were a bit older and people who were younger. Definitely part of that younger crew right there. So glad to have him. I know there were some photos of him in the Opera House and so forth. Very cool, but he is getting up there in age. Tom Nabe goes back to 1955, actually working at Disneyland, and he worked for Parks and Resorts as an executive for quite a bit. You have, I do believe, Martha Blanding, the first black tour guide for Disneyland. It's just, there were so many legends on here. It was just crazy. It's just
nice.
Wild. So to actually see that actually come down Main Street, that is, in my opinion, much better than any parade that Disney could actually offer right now. That is awesome.
And
Super
Vash Sky
cool.
was
Best
right
cavalcade
again.
ever.
Vash Sky was right again. Bob Gurr's 94 years old, so you're right. He is super young. Way off from 100.
No.
He's born October 25th, 1931. So yeah, you were 100% right. He's getting up there though.
I didn't quite think he was 100, but yeah, he's up there. He's not too far away right there.
You're
We
so
have to
good.
enjoy him. From 100 on, members of the Walt and Roy Disney family right there. It's pretty rare to have them make appearances publicly in the parks and so forth. So I love how the company though took advantage, like I was saying before, of its proximity to the Anaheim Convention Center and all of this A-grade talent coming in from all over the world in some cases to be in Anaheim. It's like, hey, they're here. Have them, book an omnibus down at Disneyland, and we can go ahead and show them off, which they absolutely deserve. Very, very cool. Love this whole thing. Just absolutely phenomenal. Some really great photos, by the way, from so many out there. Disney Food Blog had some coverage. Laughing Place has some coverage. I want to go ahead and give certainly credit to everybody who had coverage, but somewhere at Diz on X, just some great photos. Tony Baxter, gotta love that right there. Little Donald Duck, Susan Egan action, and then Show Rhodey. So that is awesome. Not gonna lie, that's cool. That was worth a Disneyland admission ticket that day. But the biggest star of all also made an appearance. Sorcerer Apprentice Mickey will debut as a new giant character balloon in the 100th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this year. The balloon was officially revealed today at Downtown Disney District as part of D23 Day at Disneyland right there. I think they have some video putting this together. Super cool. This will be Mickey's 21st appearance in the parade. The balloon measures approximately 31 feet wide, 62 feet long, and 42 feet high. Oop, and I wouldn't show you that, but X is just being X today. That's just fantastic. But you can see right there, they actually tied them down at Downtown Disney. That is awesome. So they're going all out for D23, at least the D23 day at Disneyland, which is pretty cool, right? This is stuff that people can take advantage of if they just have a park ticket. I think it's awesome. And apparently there's going to be a Princess concert tonight, actually. I saw some people actually get virtual queues for that tonight. That should be pretty cool because if you got, Paige O'Hara, if you got Jodie Benson, if you got Linda Larkin, and Ming-Na Wen, I could almost guarantee that those gals might be put to work singing and serenading the crowd. That should be fantastic. Awesome stuff. If you happen to be in the park right now and you can happen to get a virtual queue, definitely get that. That is not to be missed. Disney Food Blog right here with a little bit of video for us. Look at that. Awesome stuff. Were there any comments that we had in the chat right now, Disney55, that we have to go ahead and showcase before moving on to maybe some predictions?
We have lots of comments. Thank you so much. We appreciate those. We have some more super chats. I don't know if you brought those out.
Oh, I don't think I did. Let's go ahead and put them on screen right now. Dude, man, cuz with the $10. Thank you so much. Just announced Lakers meet and greet. Yeah, exactly. The Lakers thing is really, really interesting. Obviously, if people don't know, I believe the brother of Jared Kushner and Bob Iger himself, along with a corporate entity right there, were able to essentially buy the Los Angeles Lakers for $12 billion from its former owner right there. What's very interesting, and I'm trying to do some research into this right now, but apparently that former owner actually under investigation for maybe some tax evasion by the DOJ, and that could have been the presupposition or the pre-existing climate in which that former owner actually sells his 100% stake in the Lakers. Again, that deal, he closed a year prior to this one in October of 2025 for $10 billion. So it's kind of like, whoa, sold for 12. It's a big deal. And I'm still researching, the level of Bob Iger's investment in this whole thing. I've heard that it's not quite as much as maybe some people believe. It's not 50%. It's actually much smaller than that. So I'll be looking into that even more right now. But he got his wish. He got his basketball team that he's wanted since, I believe, 7 years ago at least. In fact, 7 years ago to the day that he was part of this deal to acquire the Lakers. Well, he was up there with Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, opening the NBA experience at Walt Disney World. I always found that event. Exactly, right? On Disney's dime. I always found that kind of curious that actually took place in that way. Well, with in light of yesterday's events, well, that does provide a little bit of light to that whole thing. It illuminates us for sure.
So the chat's having fun. just a Dutchie, a Bob Iger meet and greet.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Yeah. Of course he would. Bradley Bard. Hopefully Bob's wearing his golden cardigan. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. We have a little joke going on with the theme park and crew right there. Let's capture the magic. And Orange Grove 55 and whoever else happens to be on at that time, whether it be...
It's hilarious.
I know, theme park conductor, wizard, anybody. Anyway, we've been having this kind of fun little back and forth when it comes to the golden cardigan, right? So, if people who are unfamiliar for like sports legends and so forth, they'll hang your kind of jersey up in the rafters and they'll retire your number and all of that. So it's kind of like, well, it's going to be at the Honda Center. It's going to be with Bob Iger getting his Disney Legend Award. Got to have the golden cardigan and hoist that up in the air. That might be a whole lot of fun. So we'll see what happens.
The memes write themselves. It's like, oh yeah, they're saying they're going to have Lightning Lane to get concessions. It's so cool.
Oh, yes. Lightning
lanes
at the Lakers. The Staples Center
games.
right there where they play. Oh, that's going to be hilarious. That is going to be fun to see how that changes up. I don't anticipate changes like that, but hey, it is Bob Iger. You never know. So, Lightning Lane Lakers edition may be coming. Who knows? We'll see. Bob will take 2 showers in the Lakers locker room now. From what I understand, he's getting a shower custom built right there to have at least 2 shower heads at the Staples Center. No, I that's a complete joke. I have no idea. But it would make sense if he has a couple of those 2 shower days involving the Lakers in the Staples Center. Very, very interesting indeed. All right, let's see right here. Carmageddon here. How much will be blue sky again and then build mid to where to look on the photo? Yeah. So certainly when it comes to concept artwork, we're going to be talking about a little bit of that actually today, about how things change. And it's like, even when they announce stuff, sometimes it never comes to fruition, or if it does come, it's not in the way as was originally announced right there. 2022 suffered from that kind of that blue sky talk, or that blue sky segment, or the what if segment, I believe is what I coined back in the day. And when it comes to the what if segment, right, there were a lot of concepts like Moana, Blog Flume coming to Animal Kingdom, Zootopia, and maybe, Hot Pursuit coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom back in the day. It was, I'm trying to remember some of those concepts right now, just a whole bunch of stuff that just obviously didn't materialize and obviously didn't go anywhere. And it was kind of like, there really wasn't much substance there. Now, Josh Giamaro has said before, and I think Bruce Vaughn has said this as well, well, we did that because we really wanted to kind of gauge consumer interest in all of these things, right? We were doing it for a reason. Trust us, guys. We wanted to know whether or not you actually wanted these things. And it's like, well, of course, but obviously the ambition of some of those things has certainly fallen. We didn't get a Moana ride. All we got was, what, Journey of Water inspired by Moana at Epcot? It's weird. Not at all what people were expecting. The Coco and Encanto combination beyond Big Thunder right there, that obviously didn't happen. We know that Coco is making its way into DCA with no plans, at least currently, making its way into Walt Disney World at all. Encanto is going to be found in Tropical Americas at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And, well, what's beyond Big Thunder? Villain's Land. And what's before it? It is Piston Peak. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that and what we all think. And, well, we might as well get into it right here because more relevant than ever now that we are at D23 week. Here we go. Disney's lowering theme park panel expectations for D23 Expo. And I believe them. This by Mike from Blog Mickey right here, August 11, 2026. We talked a little bit about this on Theme Parkin', but it's very interesting how Disney would kind of, lower expectations right here. They did bust out a lot of different things for the 2024 Expo, right? And what Mike actually relays right here in his Blog Mickey article, he kind of talks about how this is kind of an off year for D23. I do think he's right? When you look at the timeline for a lot of these big changes or moves or additions or expansions or attractions or whatever usually is anywhere between 3 to 5 years. So it kind of makes sense that we wouldn't get necessarily that much only 2 years out from 17 different shows and attractions being announced back in 2024's Expo. So kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense that there's not going to be a whole lot right there. Obviously, the industry asking a lot of questions about Josh Giamaro at his first Expo, or D23 Ultimate Fan Event, that he is hosting as the CEO right here. Some of those questions include, let me see if I can go ahead and scroll down on this Vulture article. 6 urgent questions we have for Disney ahead of D23 by Savannah Salazar right here, August 13th. See right here, one, will we get a better idea of Hulu and Disney Plus's future? Obviously, that is a big question mark because we heard before previously, it's like, hey, Hulu is going away entirely. Disney Plus is going to be the only app and the only thing. And yes, I do believe Hulu itself, the app anyway, I think they have migrated a lot of that to Disney Plus, but Hulu itself is still kind of an entity, and it's kind of like, well, what's actually going to happen right there? Might we get some more reporting on that? Who knows? Is Josh going to talk about AI? I don't think so, not this Expo or Ultimate Fan Event, but a lot of people have that on their brains right now. Will Marvel finally announce the X-Men? That is significant, and we might actually get something there during the entertainment showcase portion of the D23 Ultimate Fan Event showcase right there. How will Lucasfilm fare? This is quite interesting because, we're so close to, obviously, the 50th anniversary of Star Wars occurring next year. There should be a big showcase at the Star Wars Celebration that'll take place in April 2027. But it's kind of like, what do you want to do now? Again, this is D23 is the ultimate showcase for everything Disney. Lucasfilm very much included right there. Is, what is it? Dave Filoni even going to make an appearance at this whole thing? We know very little about Starfighter. We know even little next to nothing about Ahsoka Season 2, and those are really the only things on the whole docket when it comes to Lucasfilm's future, at least significantly. So it's kind of like, what's going on there? We just heard recently that there's going to be a Marvel Star Wars crossover event in the comics. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but you would think that you would save something like that for the D23 Ultimate Fan event. So that's a little weird. We'll see. Any Muppet news? This referring to, obviously, the Jennifer Lawrence, Cole Scola, and the Emma Stone Miss Piggy project that they've been talking about on podcasts and so forth. I don't think we're going to get much of that. There's only, one Muppets presentation actually scheduled, and I do believe that's with Seth MacFarlane going over his Muppets cover album, which is very, very interesting, so I don't think we're going to see a lot of that. What's going to be interesting also, too, to track is the entertainment showcase. So I think this year they've broken up live action and animation. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in animation right now that I'm sure will be the focus on this D23 Expo, especially like Hexed, Frozen 3, Gato, Incredibles 3, etc. But when it comes to the live action side, how much does Disney really want to commit to some of these live action adaptations, right? Obviously, Moana and Snow White, not good. They just haven't done well at all. They cost the company a fortune to actually produce, and the lost revenue that they projected and everything else, it's just been a disaster, right? So it's like, how many times do we really want to go back to the well of our animated films and, produce live action variants of them? Tangled and Lilo and Stitch 2 definitely coming, but beyond that, do we really want to do this Tiana offshoot kind of thing? I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. We'll learn at the entertainment showcase right there. Going to be very interested to see the emphasis they place on Lucasfilm, the emphasis they place on Marvel, maybe even Avatar, and certainly these live action adaptations of animated classics. Very, very interesting indeed. Let's see right here. Mavro Matt, becoming a new Skywatcher. That's cool. Thank you so much for becoming a Skywatcher and becoming a member of this channel. Again, Vash and Vixen this Saturday right here at 3 p.m. Eastern, going over everything at D23. Should be a whole lot of fun to cover and then keep track. We're going to have a special live stream, whether it be on that Park Place, whether it be here, not sure, but it's going to happen. Don't worry, we'll give you posts about it right there as a member. You should be getting those auto-magically. And we will have a watch-along of the Experiences Showcase, which let's go ahead and talk about that for a little bit. You can see right there, the company has produced a video with Neil Patrick Harris talking up or showcasing, spotlighting the Experiences Showcase that they expect in the Honda Center right there. The Horizons D23 Experiences Showcase Saturday, all that. Okay, fine. Neil Patrick Harris with a little bit of gray in his hair. Haven't seen that before. That's very, very interesting. But it's this photo here that Neil Patrick Harris has taken on the, the main stage of the Honda Center that will be hosting this Experiences Showcase. Neil Patrick Harris taking a picture with Thomas Maslin, obviously the new chairman of the Experiences division right there. But it's what's in the background that has everybody talking. See right there, it's a little blurry, but was it actually made blurry by post-production for Disney? I'm not sure, but a lot of people saying that looks like the Dreamfinder. So if you compare what the Dreamfinder actually looks like and some of the illustrations that we have over the history and compare them to this kind of blurry photo in the background, there has been a lot of rumors and speculation that this year is finally the year that Epcot will be receiving a new version of Journey into Imagination, perhaps this time restoring the Dreamfinder. I know Tom Corliss from Walt Disney World News Today has talked about how this absolutely needs to happen. I believe a lot of people have been suggesting that, hey, we've gone now generations without any meaningful connection to the Dreamfinder. Obviously, the fervor from fans is still there, but it is waning because we haven't had meaningful representation of this character or the classic interpretation of Figment there at Epcot. So is this now finally the time that we might be getting a Dreamfinder or Journey into Imagination 3.0? I suppose it's possible, and the only way we'll know for sure is with the Experiences Showcase at D23 at 7 p.m. California time on Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern right there. Very interesting indeed. But somebody not coming in blurry at all, and somebody that everybody wants to see, and we'll actually be there, we know for a fact. This one, the only theme park wizard. Hello there, wizard.
It's me!
Yes, coming in loud and clear right there. That is fantastic. I love that. So we're going to start out with a little bit of D23 speculation before we get to Universal, because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and Wizard is the guy for that. There's no question. But sticking on D23 just for a second right here, what do you think, Wizard, the predictions for this year's Experiences Showcase? Like, what are they going to actually talk about, showcase, highlight, maybe even announce at this year's Experiences panel there in the Honda Center on Saturday?
I think they'll definitely give us some big updates on everything that is already coming. So, like Tropical Americas, Villains Land, Cars Land, Monstropolis, the DCA stuff, and well, we already got an update on Tokyo with the Space Mountain Earthrise name.
I thought that was interesting.
And Tomorrowland Plaza. So maybe we'll get some more concept art, and maybe they'll announce it again for everyone who didn't see that blog post there. But I think we also had a couple of trademarks come in, like for a Disney and Infinite Fates or something. So maybe that's the show or something related to Villains Land there, or something not all related at all. But I feel like we'll get maybe some names of things in these lands, because we know all these lands are happening, but we don't know a lot about them. Even Coco and things like that. We don't know a lot of. We know these rides are happening. We don't even Avengers Infinity Fest don't know too much about what's happening about that ride there. So I'm sure we'll get some opening time frames, like years of certain things, updates on certain things, patents. I mean, I'm sure the Encanto attraction, I feel like we'll learn a lot about, because there was a patent that was filed today or received today about a new type of thing. It looked like you're on the ride vehicle, but everything around you is like moving, so it makes it look like you're going up and down. And in the image, it looked like there's a casita. So maybe I'm sure that has to do with Encanto, maybe. So probably get some updates on that. So I feel like it'll be a big updates and a couple of surprises. We talked about it on the phone a few times. Maybe we'll get some. Yeah, there it is. Maybe we'll get some Disneyland Tomorrowland entrance type. Nothing crazy, but like the entrance and some small updates there. Maybe a Buzz Lightyear refurbishment or something right. Small. Maybe they'll do Space Mountain. Maybe they'll do a Space Mountain retrack for Disney World, but then announce ours again, not a retrack, but maybe some enhancements as well. Do like a double Space Mountain type of thing, but maybe some small wild cards, and maybe Figment, as you just mentioned over there, with that little shadow behind Neil Patrick Harris, or they could be teasing us like they have in the past few years. And by us, I mean all you Disney World people, because unfortunately, I've only been to Disney World one time, so I don't have an as emotional connection to Figment as some may, but I understand he's very popular over there. I don't understand, but that's because, I've only seen him one time. So
well, yeah, you've only seen it one time, and by the way, you're much younger than maybe your average Figment fan, right? So people who are maybe a little older who actually went on the original version have that kind of deep connection with this character, with the Dreamfinder and all that. But now we've gone so many generations without him. It's kind of like, well, if we want to keep him as a great merchandising opportunity, maybe we do have to do something significant this time. Now, you said, they've been teased in years before. I remember where it's like, hey, at Destination D23, it's a book. Oh, that's fantastic. Not quite what we wanted, though.
And then he was that video. He was literally walking to the WDI. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I know. And
right.
There. So
I forgot about that. Yes, that has happened before. And then at the last expo, it was like, hey, Meet and greet. Huh. Okay, that's not quite what we wanted either.
And
With
the
Figment
7-hour
or whatever.
popcorn line bucket as well.
Oh, there's so much there. So hopefully Walt Disney World Epcot fans right there get their journey into imagination, because I think that's like one of the biggest holes right now when you look at Epcot as a whole. I understand people have problems with some of the stuff that they've added recently. I get that, but it's kind of like when you look at the timeline of things that are most pressing, probably Journey into Imagination is one of those. That's like, we got to do something about this finally. We'll see. Now, I love how you bring up Tropical Americas, because here's the thing, Wizard. It's going to be the last time they can really meaningfully talk about that upcoming update or expansion, or what do they have this as? Just Tropical Americas. Fantastic. They use all this different verbiage. It doesn't really mean anything. Okay, so this Tropical Americas area in Disney Animal Kingdom, you have, the shops, restaurants, certainly, and those were largely holdovers and redesigned from when it was Disneyland USA, so that's definitely going to be a thing right there. But you do have the new carousel, which we also know little about. They've been talking and how they have this Indian carver coming in here doing these classic characters, but we don't know much more beyond that. Also, too, Encanto, which everybody's looking forward to, they've been telling us that we should expect that in 2027, no later than that. But even if it does get delayed, let's say, right, they're probably going to be aiming for a summer 2028 at the latest. We all know that the D23 Expo, or Ultimate Fan Event, usually occurs in August. So this is really the last chance to talk about Tropical Americas. I think we're going to get a lot of stuff with Encanto. I think we're also going to get a lot of stuff with Indiana Jones as well. Oh no! Did we lose the theme park wizard? Let's go ahead and see if we can get him back on.
Yeah,
Wizard,
I don't know. The
are you there?
camera's weird. Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fantastic. We have you in spirit form, which is totally fine with me. Oh yes, and now we're back. Wizard, I mean, when it comes to Tropical Americas and all of that, Indiana Jones is definitely a question mark. Do we see much from that? I think that for me right there. I kind of want to know how they're going to overlay that. Do you think we get maybe some pre-visualizations, models, that kind of thing?
I think maybe we'll get something, but for some reason, I think because they showed concept art for Indiana Jones, like multiple pieces, I feel like they'll want to focus more on Encanto for this one, because we don't even know what the ride system is, and we only have like 1 or 2 pieces of concept art for that one. So I feel like they're gonna lean into Encanto and maybe mention Indiana Jones once or twice, but I feel like, oddly enough, I don't think they'll talk about it too much, at least as much as Encanto.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point, because there's a whole lot of stuff going into that right there. Monsters Inc. area, I think we'll actually get some pretty good information about that as well, because that's going in pretty fast, pretty rapidly. I think that they may be targeting
I think we'll definitely get the show name, or at least the idea of what the show will be. And that
right.
Yeah.
Oh, the show. Yes. The Muppet Vision 3D replacement right there. That's a good point.
You know, we have coaster stuff, but they know nothing about the show. So I'm sure they'll talk about the show, because like I said, by the time the next D23 happens, it could be open or close to opening. So may miss the next D23. So I'm sure they want to bring up the show, because I'm sure everyone's very curious what the show could be.
I showed earlier in this segment right here, showed a little bit earlier that them packing up the Piston Peak model, right? And so if the Piston Peak model is done and they're willing to showcase it, so the design, everything like that, and we have the most concept art for that project right there, I think that's going to be highlighted pretty heavily. What I don't think, though, is going to be highlighted much at all, maybe we're lucky, maybe we're extremely lucky, is Villains Land. Now, here's what I want to talk to you about, Wizard, because it's very interesting what Jim Scholl is actually saying about this whole thing. Put this tweet out right here, and I'll get the date for you. Let's go ahead. August 7, 2026, 11:35 a.m., at least this time. If D23 presents Villains Land Beyond a Wall of Thorns, architecture inspired by Arte Nova, a Yama, and Krunk's Secret Lab version of Oga's Cantina, I'll have the prison straight up, and a magic mirror trip through Villains' realms, that would be nice. Magic mirror is very interesting, because I think he's intimating that it might be a magic mirror dark ride. Now, he actually elaborates on this point in a later tweet, This August 7th, 2026, 11:47 a.m., at least this time. If D23 confirms that Oceaneering International is the ride vendor for the Avengers Infinity Defense and the Magic Mirror Villains Land ride in the Magic Kingdom, that would be nice. He's suggesting, Wizard, and a lot of people have said, hey, this is, this is what I'm hearing and stuff, and I think all of those rumors emanating from this specific point. I was talking to OG about this. I believe after the theme park and a live stream that we actually had, he's hearing a lot of people saying this is going to be the ride system. So the dark ride concept that's going to be part of Villains Land might actually use, from Oceaneering International specifically, the same kind of scoop-ish concept that we see right now on the Peter Pan ride at Tokyo in their Fantasy Springs area, and what's coming to with Avengers Infinity Defense and Disney California Adventure. Wizard, what do you think about that particular aspect here?
Hold on. You can hear me, right?
I can.
Good. I don't know. My camera's literally not moving, but it keeps cutting out. Okay, here we go.
Weird. Please.
This is interesting. Well, okay, so quickly back to Cars Land. I do think, or the Piston Peak, I do think that, like you said, since they have the model there, I do think we'll get a lot more information about the ride there, ride details. Even the second ride, that smaller one we don't know much about, because it should be on the model. So, and then hopefully get rides names and maybe even an opening year for that one.
That's a fair
and
point.
For villains, this is interesting. I feel like I can go either way. I feel like since there's that big rap article that's out there, the rap is, it's not deadline, but it's enough. The rap goes like beyond, theme park people, so like average people would say, "Oh, Villains Land, okay, cool." I feel like they want to address that and at least say something about it. Like, is that true? Is it not true? And maybe even they don't give details, but just say, "Okay, we have this and this coming." I'm curious, or even just mention a show, something. But I do feel like it's interesting that I have heard too about that ride system there for villains. But then I heard someone else who was pretty adamant, and he's pretty good with Disney connections. He's pretty adamant it was still a boat ride. So I don't know, but and he's actually pretty adamant that stuff in that rap article was like an idea, but when like it's not happening type of thing,
right?
And it was the whatever's happening was the first iteration of whatever's happening was like happening. The first idea they had. So he was very adamant that it was the coaster was the scarier, Maleficent coaster, whatever the coaster was supposed to be before, and then a boat ride to was it all the villains or like Haiti or whatever the original idea was. He was pretty adamant that was happening. So I am curious, but I feel like they'll definitely have to address and talk about it because, and I'm curious on the model, the Piston Peak model. Have to be like a little Villains Land tease, and not with actual Villains Land artwork, but like maybe like a walkway leading, like that walkway leading off the map, which would be Villains Land or something like that. I'm curious to be like some sort of, and maybe they'll kind of tease some like fencing changes along the walkway to more creepier vibes and kind of give a little idea of the architecture they plan to use there, if it's going to look like that original concept art or more like Isle of Burke or whatever they wanted to go with. But I am curious. Villains Land's a big question because that one, obviously, I'm sure that's the one that that everyone is very interested to learn about more than, let's say, Piston Peak.
Oh yeah, well, Piston Peak. That's the one that got. I can tell you right now, Wizard. That's the one that got approved first, and that's the one that got developed first because the ROI potential on that is insane, right? I mean, this is Disney's Hot Wheels. It's basically what Michael Eisner actually envisioned, and it certainly is. It's one of the largest sellers of consumer product within Disney's portfolio and catalog, still even to this day. So, and we know that. What is it? Radiator Springs Racers Cars Land at DCA, it's been phenomenally successful for DCA. So it's like, we want to get some of these concepts over at Walt Disney World pronto. I didn't quite imagine that it would be taking the Rivers of America with it. C'est la vie. That's the decision that they're making right there. So we'll have to see how that actually all turns out. But I do think it's very, very interesting. Like you were saying, Wizard. Villain's Land, obviously the one that people are most excited for. There's no question about that. But I do feel with that one, because it's in the back behind Piston Peak, and because we have seen almost no progress on that side other than land clearing, I just don't know if a lot of those ideas and concepts are just are as
fleshed
ready
out
for showcase. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It could be cool to see.
If they're going to use some of that magic mist you showed, then I mean, that's something they can show. That's pretty easy to flesh out.
I got to get that clip from. I got to get that clip from Cheer to Carter. That is really something to behold now, so many years out. Again, this expo right here, they actually saw that from, what was that? I think it was 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. By the way, every time I go on Tiana, I still don't see any magic mist. So I don't know where it is in Disneyland.
Wizard, nobody sees magic mist. I'm gonna be honest with you. But you know, and you're seeing footage of it right now, of Marvel. Beginning that in just a second, or at least I think it's coming up here in this role eventually.
Movie,
please,
Marvel. Because I wanted to ask, because I'm looking at the chat as well. You know, people are saying, didn't Thomas Masdoom say the Marvel ride, the Avenger ride, is like breaking ground, like a new prototype ride? It's like a really, you know, scoop-ish, but you know, it's like brand new. And maybe he did, but I'm just saying, you know, I feel like with these recent patents, you can see, and even with coaster manufacturers and stuff, all they have to do is like change like one thing, and then they can call it brand new and revolutionary. But I mean, it's really just Transformers, you know? I mean, so even if the screen is like super cool and new, I mean, is it going to be that noticeable? Let's hope. But I'm still very worried about this particular ride here, because like this, I don't know why we don't want to see this. Like, this does not excite me. This reminds me of what they did with Tiana's, where they're showing behind the scenes stuff that just didn't look interesting. I feel like this is great for like showing to Josh tomorrow or something, like, oh my god, or like some really cool techie guy. But like, I don't know if like this is what you'd want to show the general public. You know, I don't get this. This doesn't make me want to like, oh yes, Avengers, I can't wait till it opens type of thing, you know?
Well, it's really interesting because you know, there was this quote out there. This by Scott Goosen. In the upcoming Disney World Builders, Leslie Iwerks says Kevin Feige describes the upcoming Avengers Infinity Defense as using an advanced ride system with screens that shift based on each guest's point of view. Technology he believes can redefine themed experiences.
It's like that patent over there.
Yes, and that's
like in concept, the screen shift based on the point of view. I wonder if it could be used for both rides.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Never really quite thought of that. But with that recent patent right there, the idea being that you can trick people into believing they're actually going up an incline when they're not, which could be something, you know, quite desirable if in fact you're looking at height requirements or I should say, well, height requirements, I guess. So, but heights of structures and all of that, I think that's kind of noteworthy in that aspect. But this is a little bit different, and perhaps Wizard is right. Perhaps they are interlinked in that way. You can see here that this kind of shifting with guests' perspective, you know.
Oh wait, like, go back. Just okay. There it is, right there. I mean, that just proves it right there. There's a literal scoop eagle pointed. That's Transformer.
Right.
How is that new and exciting? Oh my God.
Well, this is so interesting. This clip right here, provided by Ryan Theme Park, this comes from Islands of Adventure.
Okay. Let's say doing
this for Spider-Man
30 years ago. Yeah,
this is 30 years ago. Yeah, this even predates Transformers. It's kind of like, okay, well, and I'll you know, be generous here. Orange 55 did actually bring up the fact that, well, you know, the Disney's technology might differ because it might be based on individuals' perspectives from the rider and not just the ride vehicle, which is fair. But Wizard, is that really a distinction with a measurable difference?
This is like what's a good example? This is like single rail coasters, right? You have RMC did a Wonder Woman single, then Intamin did their version of a single rail coaster. Yeah, it's different, but it's the same idea. And they may feel a little bit different, but it's like the same idea. So if you don't like single rail coasters, you're probably not going to like the Intamin version either. You know, I feel like the same with this. You know, if you don't like Transformers, you may like Avengers a little better because there may be some new and advanced stuff that Disney's doing. But I don't know. And to Remedy's point, when Forbidden Journey opened, everyone called that a slam dunk. That's still didn't that ride win awards too, like Monsters Unchained? Because he said the using the same ride system. So yeah, I mean, if you're calling people like Toy Story, people are okay with Toy Story Midway Mania, and then Web Slingers is like a better or advanced version of the same thing. I just hope Spider-Man works, because even though it's that scoop thing, there's a lot of physical sets in front. And Disney, to be fair, did promise that. They said there'll be a lot of physical, or they said there'll be physical sets. So unfortunately, everything they show, they don't show any physical sets. So I don't know. I wish they would show that. I know they have to build them, I guess, but I'm hoping that there's some physical sets, a lot of them from these screens, because otherwise, if it's just a screen fest, that's not going to be that cool, in my opinion.
Right.
It might be great on high requirement, which is what California Mission needs, but you can make it truly like Spider-Man and have fun for everybody, you know?
Well, I mean, that's what we're all hoping for, Wizard. I mean, it's like, look, we've been waiting a long time for this. In fact, let me go ahead and tell you, weave you a tale going all the way back to 2019, when the first Avengers e-ticket was actually formally announced right here. This, being, October 11th, 2019. More details on Avengers e-ticket attraction coming to Avengers Campus Marvel Lands. And back in the day, it was this grand Quinjet adventure right here, where you would be thrust into the world of the Avengers. You would actually go in as like a, I guess, Avengers recruit, perhaps, and you'd be going all throughout these corridors right here. Having this amazing pre-show.
That looks cool.
That looks cool, right?
That ride also included a giant screen, but you'd be on a Cougar arm, and it would be a different experience. So it's not, the screen itself isn't bad per se. It's how you use the screen in the ride. Like Secret Life of Pets uses screens very nicely in the ride. And so it's Star Tours, to be fair, uses screens very nicely because you're in like a ship. So It just depends how you use the screen.
And the screens, at least in this case, were actually going to be very, very clever because, as you can see, you went throughout this queue. You're setting up to go into a Quinjet, so you're believing that you're going to have maybe like a Star Tours adventure. But when you actually sit down in your Quinjet, you notice that there's a 4-point harness attached to you, unlike the seat belts that are indicative of an attraction like Star Tours or Body Wars, etc. And it's because this concept would have had the Quinjet transform into individualized vehicles, maybe controlled by Kuka Arm, going through a Avengers mission to help Wakanda that you're taking a tour of up until this point. That's when the Quinjet says, hey, we got to have you guys in there to help the Avengers out. And then boom, you're thrust into this action. It's going to be like this interactive experience right there. It looks awesome, phenomenal. And guess what? Wizard, Hong Kong was going to get the same thing. And now nobody is actually getting it because, according to, I believe, Ben Fritz's article from the Wall Street Journal, they were saying that they didn't have necessarily the confidence and Imagineering to actually pull a concept like that off. And so now we're getting Infinity Defense. So it's the second or third generation of
crazy,
this.
But what a statement. You don't have confidence in your own team to pull that off? Like, the team to pull off Pirates and Haunted Mansion and all these other Expedition Everest, you don't have confidence for them to pull out the Avengers attraction. That's kind of That's kind of sad. I don't know.
That's not great. Don't like that, but apparently that's what is going to happen. And well, sure enough, we have the concept art here, which, by the way, and I think I saw a tweet from you. They first showcased, I believe, going back to 2022. There,
Yeah, I mean,
this
years,
concept art right here.
Went by really fast.
This one right here. Yeah, it went by really fast, right? 2022, that's the concept art. And now we're going to be facing off against King Thanos, which is very, very interesting. Okay,
I just want to say to the chat, so for this particular attraction, I'm very invested only because, just like what Tiana's having, like Splash Mountain was like the barrier, right? So for this attraction, in my mind, the barrier is the Avengers coaster that I obviously never got any official confirmation of or anything, but it was a heavily rumored thing. So I was very excited for that because, as I've said many, many times, Disneyland Resort has had a new coaster of any kind, and since 2001, that's 25 years. So I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Avengers fits the coaster perfect, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So ever since all these iterations of Avengers rides, I've been comparing to this Avengers coaster that's in my mind. So that's probably my fault because a lot of people nowadays probably don't even know that existed. Not probably even other things. So like, this is so cool. And I totally get that. And I'm sure it'll be fun, but I'm like, man, I'm really butthurt that we don't have another roller coaster.
Well,
yeah, Incredicoaster, but that was just a retheme. But they barely did they just replaced the loop. They didn't replace any of the track. They're crazy.
I know.
Come on.
Incredicoaster's getting pretty rough right there. Again, that was an Intamin classic from, like Wizard said, 2001. 25 years old now, and it feels like every single year of that, which is not absolutely fantastic. Now, we did actually fare a little bit better, I think, than maybe Hong Kong, because Hong Kong, they didn't get the big Avengers.
They didn't get anything. Well, they got the tower, right?
They got the tower.
They didn't get two rides. You got two. I think, and I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh man, we got this little kook arm thing." Honestly, I'm kind of excited for the kook arm only because something different for Disney. Yes, I know Legoland had it in like 2003, but
yeah, exactly.
It's different for Disney, and even though it's still yet another screen, it's something different. Like we haven't had anything like this at the Disneyland Resort. Now, wasn't there like a kook arm ride in Tomorrowland or something? I don't know if that was just Magic Kingdom or here.
That was like Epcot. That was some
Epcot,
of the thrills.
So we never had one at Disneyland Resort. So at least it's something I'm excited for because it's something new for our resort, even if the rides is not new. So I think this has potential to be actually pretty cool. So I'm excited to try it out. I have high hopes because I think this could be pretty cool. I know it could be definitely nauseating for some people, but I hope it's different, so I'm excited to try it out, and I hope it doesn't suck. I'm just glad that it has more ride capacity, so that's nice. But
no, yeah,
and
that's
to see it from the outside, which will add some kinetic energy, unlike the two indoor rides, Spider-Man and Avengers are indoors. But this will be like outdoors, so it'll add some kinetic energy. People like screaming or something, so that'll be nice. I feel like it has a couple of pros, at least a couple.
Right. It's got a couple of pros. I do think this was a way to placate that kook arm contract. They may have actually were in the process of actually getting confirmed for the previous version of the ride.
Better than throwing them away.
Well, that's true. And look, I mean, it adds extra capacity, so that's a good thing. And certainly it adds some kinetic energy, which Avengers Campus certainly needs. So it fills a couple of those things. But I don't know about this one. We'll have to see. But for Hong Kong, though, they didn't fare well at all. Obviously, you had the drop tower, which was supposed to be Spider-Man centric to an enormous degree. It's supposed to be a Spider-Man ride. You can see Doc Ock actually featured right there. This is a 2024 version of this concept art, but 2025 had things different. You can see right here, now you have more of the Avengers cast being part of it.
It's a lot different.
Right? You can see
back and forth there, yeah.
Right. You can see Asgard back there, so clearly this is not just limited to Spider-Man, which, is, I'm not saying it's a bad move, I'm just saying this is how things evolve.
Which is funny because, look at the Spider-Man movie now.
Right, exactly right. So you can Wizard. They're going to be taking advantage of the SEO. By the way, they're going to Spider-Man this whole thing up at the expo. But you can guarantee that. But it just did close to $2 billion now, which is very interesting. You can notice here though with this drop tower, there is no exterior portion that is typical of Disney's drop towers. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, interesting. Wasn't that, by the way, a rumor when there was a Mission Breakout when they were converting yards that they were going to cover up our exterior portion?
That was a rumor.
I'm glad they didn't because I like seeing them from the kinetic energy. It adds that energy. Seeing them from the outside and hearing people scream, and then I like the view. But I was like, please don't cover it up. So I'm glad they didn't. But it looks like they took that idea and put it over here.
I'm glad they didn't as well. You can see here that this is quite interesting because usually the cage you can't quite see above you. Here, though, it looks like they do want you to be able to see above because we see in both concepts here that there might be some screens or something or something up top to make you believe that, hey, Spider-Man's really saving you on the swinging aspect right there. So that could be cool, could be a lot of fun, but certainly is a far cry from the Quinjet attraction that both DCA and Hong Kong were about to receive all those years ago in 2019. I do believe I'm getting reports here. Let me see if I can get Scott.
I wonder how that would look because I'm imagining being on a Mission Breakout and looking up. I wonder how that would feel. Would that be nauseating? No, I don't think so. But would that hurt your neck? I don't know. I wonder how much it would be above you. If there are screens up on the cabin, I wonder how the viewing area will look like. The seating arrangement could be if you're supposed to look up, maybe the seats will be a little different.
Oh, that's a good point. We might actually be getting some clever Imagineering on that in that regard because I would imagine. I mean, the original Tower of Terror that goes back to the 90s for Disney's Hollywood Studios right there. What does the modern version of a drop tower actually look like from Disney? That should be a lot of fun to explore. It does look like, by the way, as predicted, Wizard, the media showcase has begun. They are going through the show floor right now, getting up close with all of the exhibits right there. I don't see anything for the experiences showcase or the experiences portion of it. I will be monitoring X here to see if we get anything in that regard. Looks like some Disney executives right there giving some speeches.
Twitter, let's see. I don't
right. I'm not seeing anything quite yet. When people get around there and we'll get the photos, trust me, guys, we will be showcasing them here because we are very curious what the up close HD copies of this, or I should say, HD photos of these models actually look like for all of us right there. What we can glean from them and how close they'll be to the actual iterations that we actually see in the future. So we've gone over basically everything that's going on in Walt Disney World right there. I'll just say with Villain's Land, it's a little bit farther out. So just be aware of that. I do expect the Lion King to be showcased here as well, that being the Disney Adventure World attraction there. I do also expect maybe a Tomorrowland segment, just given the amount of different Tomorrowland things that are coming to Disney parks, right? So like Carousel Progress, for instance, we have been hearing about maybe a Space Mountain significant redo of the Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom, which Braden has produced an excellent video about, by the way, and he's suggesting that that's kind of going to be the route that they actually go. Does this mean that we actually get some stuff for Disneyland? Like you said, the entrance right there. But Autopia is having to go down for its reimagining to electric. Yes, electrification. That's February 2027. It has to occur. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So do we actually get the prototype kind of Autopia driving out right there, as Vixen has suggested? Maybe even Bob Gurr in attendance. That would be cool to showcase all of that. So I would think that we might be getting something there. And last but not least, I want to say Fantasmic. It is in terrible straits. It is in really rough shape. I think Fantasmic might actually play a role in this as well, because really Disneyland isn't getting anything significant for quite some time until these new additions actually open, and a lot of that's going to be at DCA anyway. So Fantasmic, 35 years old next year. Do we get a Fantasmic 3.0, a reimagining with the dragon? I think that's very, very likely. Maybe even the Return of the Electrical Parade to do some counter programming and all of this. I think that's all part of the equation.
And I know Dave has heard some rumors with that. He said that Tom Sawyer Island will go down for a while as they work on the Fantastic Dragon. And that'd be cool because, as he documented a lot, a lot of those effects don't work. So 2 birds with 1 stone, put the dragon in there, fix up Tom Sawyer's Island, maybe add some new magic in there, and then that'd be cool.
Well, we have to also have to add in there, Wizard, with that. I think in Dave's video, that being Fresh Baked, that he said that the lift was also damaged, which is consistent with what I'm hearing. The lift was also damaged for Mickey to come up, magically and all of that, because of the proximity to the fire. So since 2023, they've had no lift, they've had no dragon. A lot of the effects don't work anymore, especially now. So maybe it is time to reimagine this entire thing once again for its 35th anniversary. I think that's likely. Please.
Dude, how do the budgets work? Does California Adventure and Disneyland, do they get a separate new attraction budget, or how does that work? Because I'm thinking, since all the new attractions going to California Adventure, I'm like, maybe Disneyland has a big budget to use on, like I said, entertainment and maybe Fantasmic.
I thought for larger projects like this, the entertainment budget's shared. I thought that's how that worked. I'll get some clarification on that, though, Wizard, because that's actually a good point, because we still don't have anything in the Hyperion, which we'd love to see, but is unlikely, unfortunately, at this point. And Fantasmic's gonna absorb so much of that budget, Wizard. This is kind of why I do believe we might be getting the Electrical Parade back again. It's 70s era tech, right? It wouldn't be that much of a cost to get that thing running again, and would provide some great counter programming for a nostalgia fueled, celebration of nighttime entertainment.
Let's just hope that if it does come back, it's not treated like Fantasmic's been treated. So half the parade will be back.
That's a fair point, indeed. Still checking the show floor right here, just making sure we haven't missed anything.
While you check, I didn't say Hyperion, yes, is empty, but I think it's like criminal. It gets hot out here in the summer, so let's open it up for people to go in there, relax, even if there's no show or anything. But have some water bottles. The big 2,000 seats. Have it open up for families and kids, and just take a little break and relax. Even if you don't show anything in there, I'm sure people would go in there. I'd go in there and hang out just to get a little cool off. I don't know why they don't just do that. And it only takes like maybe 2 to 5 cast members to staff. I mean, they really, if they're not going to use it for shows, at least do that,
You would think you would very well think that they would at least use that lobby portion that they have right there, or maybe even the interior of the Hyperion itself, maybe just on the lower floor right there, anything just to utilize this space, and that way it doesn't wither away. Again, entertainment fought tooth and nail for decades to get a space like that. It is an amazing venue. The fact that they haven't actually leveraged that for 6 years really is beyond a crying shame.
And again, it's only 25 years old. I mean, California's still not that old of a park. So
correct.
I mean, I'm sure it has decades left if they want to use the building,
I'll go ahead and I'll add this, Wizard, too, with that. A lot of people have been saying, well, just get rid of it. It opens up so much space. Not really. When you actually look at the acreage, it doesn't actually provide you that much because it's tall, not wide. So, again, doesn't necessarily benefit you for your next big expansion as much as it would.
Capacity there,
Right. It services 2,000 people per show. So... you gotta think about all of that, and I'm sure they are. One of the last things I want to go ahead and go over very quickly, you mentioned it before, but Tokyo obviously having a big showcase there, I believe the last couple of days. I don't quite know because obviously there's a big time difference. Tokyo Disneyland reveals the new Wreck-It Ralph attraction will be called Sugar Rush Sweet Rescue. The new Space Mountain will be called Space Mountain Earthrise, as we've heard before, with the surrounding area named Tomorrowland Plaza. You can kind of see some of those concepts right here, which is looking absolutely phenomenal right there. The before and after, by the way. Before, after, it is quite a substantial redo.
I just got a theory that's probably so off, but I'm curious. So, Sugar Rush, right?
Yes.
Autopia has to be electrified by February 14th to the law, right? Big investment. Do they put Sugar Rush Autopia? Also,
interesting.
They refurbished Buzz Lightyear, right? Many months, came back looking like interior, looking like crap. Exterior looking great. Wreck-It Ralph attraction. Sugar Rush.
That's an interesting idea, right? Because I look at the IP, I look at Buzz Lightyear, and I think maybe not the most relevant. It wouldn't take all that much, Wizard, to kind of just redo it.
But think about
for Wreck-It Ralph.
If you're going to close it for at least a couple of months, did lots of beautiful work on the outside. Disney doesn't just, if Disney's not fixing something, especially when it's already closed, it usually means there's a plan for that. They don't mean to keep it around too much longer, you know?
I would think so. It's a really interesting observation, and maybe you're right. Maybe Buzz Lightyear's future isn't yet written when it comes to new IPs actually coming out, and certainly if Tokyo is footing the bill for some of these things to be developed, well, it makes kind of sense that some of those ideas percolate and find their way into other attractions, maybe perhaps replacing Buzz Lightyear at Disneyland. You can see right here the video footage of the Tomorrowland Plaza that would be part of this new area of Tomorrowland, this sub area, I guess, or this neighborhood within Tokyo Disneyland's Tomorrowland. You can see it's kind of a combination of modern Epcot and 1967 Tomorrowland, which is very interesting. And this whole complex right here, it's going to be extremely significant. Earthrise being the most expensive attraction that Disney's ever built, which is very noteworthy. We have a spec sheet right here. I'm going to go ahead and get that on another screen so I can actually read that. I am okay, I do apologize. I'm not.
Doc, I thought you were well versed in Japanese.
Maybe a little bit, but komidosai. Do apologize that I'm not extremely proficient. I'm trying though. Completely redesigned from the building to the ride system, this attraction features a new space-themed story fused with dynamic and immersive effects, like onboard audio, by the way. It is an indoor roller coaster type attraction. The attraction begins with an experience with a ride carrying guests, launches powerfully from Earth, and leaps into space. So it's going to feature a launch right there. Additionally, through special effects of light and sound that depict introduced for the first time in a Tokyo Disney Resort coaster. So, like I said, onboard audio, you can enjoy a dynamic and immersive space experience unlike anything before. The exterior design of the facility incorporates the movements of the celestial bodies as well as the curves of nature, trees, flowers, expressing the connection between space and nature. Whew, very cool. Do we actually see any of that stateside? We might, but I do believe there's going to be a Tomorrowland segment of some kind. Now, Wizard, the big grand finale, it is your time to shine. What's going on with maybe a cousin to Space Mountain Earthrise, Fast and the Furious, Hollywood Drift over there at, Universal Studios Hollywood?
Well, looks like they got some more complaints from the noise from the screams of this roller coaster. They did their sound testing over multiple soft openings over the past couple of weeks. So even though the council members said they are in compliance, Universal said, you know what? We'll go ahead and build a couple more sound walls to keep you happy. And actually, one of those is going up pretty quickly. If you go on Theme Park Tracker's Twitter, he actually took a picture of the massive scaffolding of one of those new sound walls coming up, and it's in an interesting spot, right by the escalator, right by that first drop, which is some screaming happens there. But
I see that.
Yeah, but not a lot of screaming. but it's very interesting. So we're gonna actually take a look at this picture together. Once you see it, sorry, that was I'm making dinner tonight, so that was the alarm for it. But, chicken in the
There
oven,
you go.
y'all. But so
There you go.
let's, if you can, I don't know if you can zoom in,
Sure, I can
but
zoom.
let's look at the bases of those supports, and it's hard to see. I'm gonna investigate myself because
Mhm.
from what I heard, and I obviously made that article a long time ago. That said, oh my goodness, what if they need to bring back heavy machining for this ride, right? And it turns out they do. Well, they'll build the sound walls, but per the Universal Zone notice, it's going to bring a dump truck and an excavator to build some of these walls here. And also, one of my guys told me too, if they're digging around these supports, that means they're killing two birds with one stone, because apparently back a few months ago, this ride did not pass the inspection because some of these were supports, the way they're dug into the ground. Like, it's not going to fall apart, but the state inspector didn't think it was being held up as well as it could. So I guess
Really?
they were, he heard that somebody on the project told him they may need to bring back some machinery to dig around the supports and fortify them a little more, I guess. So I'm curious, why do they build these walls? And I'm going to be investigating. The work is only happening overnight, which is funny. I guess the ride is still open, but it is also a good way for people not to see what you're doing. I'm curious if around these supports where these walls are going up, if they're also going to like be digging around them and maybe fortifying them to pass. I assume a past inspection now. People are on it, but I'm very curious if that was like true or what's going on there, because there was some structural thing with the supports that there was a concern. That's part of the reason why it didn't open for a while, and still has no opening date with the sound plus that. So I'm curious, but if the supports are okay and everything's okay with the actual coaster, then they're going to build those two sound walls that I don't think will do anything, but they'll still build them. And that should be done by early September. But I do think that maybe they are going to try to kill two birds with one stone, and maybe they're also looking at other things while they build those sound walls between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. every single night from now through early September. So that would be very interesting, and I'll be, obviously we can only judge by this one picture, but on Sunday when I go, I really plan to really zoom in and look around the bases of supports to see if there's anything off or different over the past few months, because that is a very interesting thing I heard. Because at first he wouldn't tell me why they would need heavy machinery. Now he finally did, now that summer's coming. So I am curious to see if something is going on with it.
There is this concept of what's called back in the day it was called earthquake rehab. This idea of fortifying a structure that's already standing so that it meets a more modern code. Right? You can do that with things that have already been installed, already up. It's very expensive and it's pretty laborious. So maybe perhaps, like you said, maybe that's a reason why you would bring in heavy machinery. If not for that, then maybe perhaps for these sound barriers as well. We know there's going to be two of them in order to handle the complaints from Toluca Lake, like we've been saying before. They were in compliance, but again, they're going to be throwing that olive branch there. Perhaps they need their participation in the future. So I do think it's a goodwill effort on their part. What's very, very interesting about this as well is they've announced these annual pass holder previews for this specific coaster right here. So between August 19th and August 23rd, I do believe August 23rd is sold out, and I think August 19th is sold out, so I think it's the interior days right there. I was able to get one for August 21st.
You got one?
I did get one.
That's why I was trying to call you. We were playing phone tag. I was like, oh, yeah, I hope you got one. I hope you already got one. That's good.
I sure did. I do. It's the Friday of that week right there, whichever that happens to be.
Wait, I am off that day. Oh, great. This is great.
Oh, that's interesting.
I have a doctor's appointment in the morning, so after that, I'll just come straight over and meet you. Oh, wow. Look, see, now you guys can get a peek into the conversation you have on the stream.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we do a special live stream for that. I'm not sure. I would love to do it. I did get it, so in case I happen to be out there, I'll get it. Wizard, I'll go ahead and be in contact with you to to finalize those travel arrangements. That way you don't go down to Universal expecting me and I'm not there. But we'll see. I did grab one though because I was like, well, let's just have one just in case.
Smart.
I happen to be out there.
Better to late than never. Better to get it early than be like, oh, dang it, I could be out there and I didn't get one type of thing.
Exactly, right? So that's kind of what I was thinking right there. Now, the last but not least, Wizard, I want to go ahead and go over with you the replacement to Supercharged. So I know you've been keeping very watchful eye of the area around at least Hollywood's version of Supercharged, that kind of pull through for the tram right there at the conclusion, previously the finale of the tram, the studio tour out there in Universal Studios Hollywood. They did clear out some propping from what I understand, Wizard, and now they might have found a replacement. Do you have anything to share with us on that that regard?
It seems like it's most likely going to be a Twisters situation, which is pretty interesting. I think it could really work out well, at least in Hollywood, because I imagine, you can duplicate. You can have two tornadoes, one on each side. Because again, as I said, with King Kong and Supercharged, it was, if you're depending on what side of the tram you were on, it was kind of hard to see everything. You kind of looked at one side and you saw something, and then you look on the other side and there's people's heads in your way, or you miss where Vin Diesel's at. It's kind of hard to see the whole show. But with Twisters, if they do it in this way that I'm thinking, they can just have to duplicate the tornadoes, or have you go in the middle of a massive tornado and then have the whole thing shake and kind of duplicate the screens on each side, so you don't have to keep looking all around, and just kind of shake the train and have a bunch of wind machines and things flying around and mist and and then there you go. And I feel like it'd be a pretty cheap replacement to do for the next 5 or so years until they maybe demolish the whole area for a big new land or two. So I think it'll be pretty, if it is true, I feel like it'd be pretty decent replacement, better than Supercharged.
Yeah, I do believe. I mean, it would be a fantastic replacement for Supercharged. They're still using the building, the existing infrastructure, which is actually really impressive. Was always more impressive than the actual show itself, which is ironic. So it just needed a really good franchise, really needed a good story, a really good elements to really complete the package. So Twisters could actually provide that, which is very interesting. Obviously, Twister never having a presence at Universal Studios Hollywood, but it was over there at Universal Studios Florida for a period of time. And I believe it's now been replaced by Jimmy Fallon, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day.
Right.
So
good old Jimmy.
Now, do we believe that Twisters might make its way to the Florida version of Supercharged?
I think so. Oh, actually, I don't know. That one's still a mystery to me. I mean, they can easily just duplicate it if they want, but it's still a mystery because those screens are still pretty new too. I mean, even newer, 2018 versus 2015. So I think they want to reuse them. So I feel like, I mean, it's pretty cheap to just duplicate things. So maybe, again, like as a temporary thing for the next 5 or 10 years until they expand Diagon Alley or do whatever they want to do over there. But especially because I feel like I have a lot of bigger fish to fry at Florida with the Simpsons and stuff like that. I feel like this would be an easy thing to do. Just plop it in there and then have it be there for a few years and then come around to it later on. Because I know a lot of people want Back to the Future over there. But then I feel like people are like sometimes speak on emotions and don't think, because I'm like... And I just saw that come Back to the Future, and that'd be cool. But I just so my bad. But I'm just thinking because like once I feel like once you want something more for Back to the Future than just the screen, I feel like you'd want like a ride, like something really, especially because if it's coming, it'll come, and that's your last chance for like next 5 decades or whatever, right? So,
that's true. Yeah.
So like I feel like you really gotta get it right. Something like we say with Disney a lot, you just gotta get it right. If you're gonna do something, you gotta get it right because then you're stuck with it for like a long time. Yeah. So I hope Back to the Future or Jaws or some of these classics do come back, but like in a proper way, because the screens aren't going anywhere because they're so new. They're not even 10 years old. So Back to the Future should go somewhere else in the park. Maybe that spot where the Fear Factor live stages they don't use anymore, except for Halloween Horror Nights.
I would agree with you. I mean, I would love for maybe Back to the Future. I'm going to make its way back in FanFest, but that's just me. Certainly
That's
a
probably
substantial
the
attraction.
soonest it can come.
Yeah, that's true, right? We have to be realistic about these things. If we're looking for recognition of Jaws, Ghostbusters, or Back to the Future, or all these favorite franchises that we actually have, it's probably going to come later, not sooner. But if they do, like Wizard said, we'd like them to be as substantial as possible. So it is a great point. Fantastic stuff right there. We did have somebody actually ask this question here, Wizard, which was very, very interesting. This by Brad Lee, Coaster Fan 37 right here, who I believe is in the chat right there as Bradley Bard. Thank you so much for joining us here. Huge rumor alert. Disney Parks could potentially be gearing up to announce something Marvel related at Epcot. Rumored to be possibly Doctor Strange or Black Panther related. Probably at Disney suggests taking over the Tower of Terror or the Wonders of Life pavilions. Vash Sky, thoughts? Now, this is very, very interesting, Wizard, because the idea of perhaps getting something from Doctor Strange or Black Panther is not that crazy or far-fetched. In fact, they did have a Doctor Strange meet and greet actually make his appearance at Jollywood Nights, as Capture the Magic, I believe, pointed out on Theme Parking. Now, what's interesting here is that I think they called him the Sorcerer Supreme. They didn't actually use his official Marvel title, which is interesting, but he was there. So they could have been testing the waters to see whether or not Universal got a little antsy using a classic Marvel character in this way. And people have speculated for years about the possibility of Black Panther making his way to somewhere in Walt Disney World somewhere. Specifically, the rumor I heard was maybe perhaps using the Wonders of Life Pavilion as kind of a Wakanda within Epcot, which is very, very interesting. Now, you'll note that, well, Black Panther currently has a presence, at least in art form, at the Marvel Superheroes Island at Islands of Adventure. But does that necessarily disqualify him from being included in, attractions at Walt Disney World, especially if you give him another name? What do you think about all this, Wizard? Is there a possibility that, Marvel be bestowed in some way to Walt Disney World in some form or fashion beyond just Cosmic Rewind?
I feel like if it was any park, it would be Epcot because it's already in Epcot. So I feel like, and yeah, that Wonders of Life Pavilion is just sitting there. So I think it's definitely possible. Especially there's meet and greets, but there are meet and greets in Hollywood Studios. So I'm curious, do they dare take away the Tower of Terror? Oh boy, that would be something.
Oh yeah, Terror. I don't know about all that one. They are heavily refurbishing it right now. So I think the likelihood is unlikely for that because that looks like some significant work.
For Mission Breakout, they refurb Tower of Terror before that, and like preparation. But they did.
That was a little different. that was we're gonna repaint, redecorate the entire thing right there.
They did refurbishing the exterior. So yeah, then that should be okay.
It's technically different budgets, right?
Yeah. So I'm very interesting. I guess we'll see, but I wouldn't be surprised, especially as Doomsday continues to ramp up and things like that. And then you got the X-Men coming in. I don't know if IOA has X-Men stuff, but maybe that's an exception. I don't know, but I feel like they definitely want to test the waters and bring the Fox IP somewhere because as people have been mentioning lately, because of another merger, when Disney bought Fox, that studio seemed to disappear and not being used very well. So I'm sure they want to try to use it better. So I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like Black Panther would be like an Animal Kingdom guy, but
I've also heard concepts that you say that, Wizard, of Black Panther maybe incorporating Animal Kingdom as well. So you have a point here. You I think that's an astute observation.
Yeah. See, okay. Give me 10
Not totally
seconds.
out of the realm of possibility.
Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
I have to take the chicken out of the oven.
Hey, take chicken out of the oven. We're here right here. We're probably not going to be live that much longer because obviously, we've got we've got Marvin's M4 Empire actually on right now. We just kind of want to see what they're talking about over there at the D23 convention. Anaheim Convention Center containing D23 Ultimate Fan Event, the show floor. What are they actually featuring? That's what I meant to say, guys. Sorry. It's all coming in hot and heavy. We see a new look at Hexed. And we also get Frozen 3. So there you go. That's what's being showcased right now to the members of the media currently. I am looking at X real hard to see if we can actually get any experiences stuff showcased right here before we actually have to depart. I'm not seeing it, which is a little bit surprising because I thought I would have bet money that we would have had at least something, at least on Thursday night while we were actually live. They might actually be saving that for later on during tonight's media walkthrough here. So I would say keep on X right here. I'll try to retweet and stuff all I can on my own end so that you guys can stay informed. That's going to be at Vash Sky right there. Now, Disney Fan 55, you have come in. Are there any comments that we want to go ahead and showcase? Any questions we want to go ahead and answer before we actually departing for tonight's illustrious ceremony?
Oh, yeah. Quite a few comments.
Sorry about that.
A lot of people have different thoughts as to what they're wanting from D23. But I just sent you a DM. Real interesting. It says, Len Tessa teases a big surprise announcement for either Walt Disney World or Disneyland Resort at the D23. Mr. Penguin said, my prediction, it was just kind of a tweet. My prediction, most of the parks and experiences presentations will be talking about the new garbage cans. Kind of a joke. Everything else is minor things here and there.
A lot of people like the garbage can commentary. That's very, very interesting. It's been on the docket for Vash Sky ParkCast coverage for a while.
Man,
but
it's good stuff.
It's good stuff right here. Let's see. Land Test is saying my predictions. Most of the park's experiences presentation will be talking about the new garbage cans. Everything else, just minor things in here and there. Setting aside the quote, what's in the cabinet, that looks like Dream Finder thing going on social media. There's one big domestic park announcement that has not been sussed out yet. It's not my story to tell though. Someone else here put the pieces all together, and all I did was ask the right person if it's true. That's interesting. So something domestic might be announced. Might be Disneyland, might be Tomorrowland, might be Fantasmic, might be a couple other things right there. Again, there's lots of evidence to suggest that one of the two, maybe even both, might actually be featured right there. But again, it is speculation. And you also have to understand, guys, it's not just the domestic parks. Remember, it's international parks. So you got Hong Kong, you've got Paris, certainly going to be part of this equation right here. Maybe even perhaps Tokyo, although they don't historically feature too much from Tokyo because they don't have a financial stake in it. You also got to think too. This includes Abu Dhabi as well. Includes the hotels, includes the cruise liners. And again, we have 4 cruise liners that we have had announced but know nothing about, which also might make an appearance at the show. Wizard, were you able to get the chicken in the oven there?
Yes, I took it out, and then I came because I must say goodbye because I have to eat it and then rush to my grandpa's.
Oh, well, we wanted to go ahead and get you there. I know you're going to go ahead and be at D23 there.
Saturday. Woohoo!
Sir, absolutely. Have your phone on right there. We'll see if we can actually reach out to you. Do appreciate you, Wizard. Sorry about playing phone tag yesterday, but very much appreciate you appearing on this program right here. Thank you, Wizard. Make sure you go ahead and follow Permit Wizard on X and Theme Park Wizard on all those various platforms that you love so much, including Twitch, including YouTube. I know we're streaming on Twitch right now, which is very, very cool. Thank you so much, Wizard, for that. A whole lot more. Definitely subscribe to this man. Thank you, Wizard. I very much appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We will see you later. All right, then. Let's see here. We have so many people in the chat, so many people joining us right here. This is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much to the 200 of you out there on both YouTube and on X. Again, we will be covering the expo pretty closely right here. I mean, if it gets so crazy, we might even have a special live or something on Friday, but I don't believe that might be the case. I think they're saving a lot of that park stuff for Saturday. We're definitely going to have coverage on that, so expect a special Faction Vixen going over everything that the show has to offer right there. It's going to be on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern for our members. it's significant enough, maybe we'll make it public. But for right now, we'll probably keep that as a members only special for all of you. And for Saturday night, that's going to be the big experience showcase. We are going to have a watch along party. It's either going to be here on Vash Sky ParkCast or in that Park Place. We will be sending out notifications via posts and so forth, certainly on X as well. It's going to be a big, big event. So I think it's going to be absolutely wonderful. If you have a Disney Plus account, you can watch along with us. We can't live stream it over the airwaves that we have. We have to, obviously, there's some copyright, some issues there, but don't worry. If you have Disney Plus, you can watch along with us and you can kind of react with us. It's going to be very, very cool. Think about it like a sporting event, right? We've seen Firefighters do this and some others in our space do this with like Dodgers games and all of that. We're going to be doing it with, I think, the Expo. I think it's going to be fantastic. So we'll be watching along together, providing commentary in real time, especially during musical interludes and all of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you definitely want to go ahead and be part of that. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you're subscribed so you get all of our post notifications, all of our live notifications, all of that. All the info will be there. And again, that's going to be at 7 p.m. California time on Saturday or 10 p.m. Eastern for all of you on the East Coast. Goodness gracious. We've got all kinds of stuff going on here at the Vash Sky ParkCast. This is Fan 55. Any last comments that we want to go ahead and highlight there before getting out and getting to the M4 Empire?
When talking about Doctor Strange, it's interesting. Captain Magic says, from what I understand, anything on that wall at IOA,
right,
Islands of Adventure, means Disney can't touch it. And it's interesting because Universal Orlando's, their agreement does not cover every single Marvel character. So east of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
So it protects characters and the related families such as the Avengers, Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four. So Doctor Strange is treated outside of that. So it's interesting. They cannot use the word Marvel on any of anything that they do. That word is theirs. But it could be something that they can do in Florida.
Yes. If in fact they use that language carefully, the question becomes, can they actually reference these characters if they're just an artwork, or is it limited to the attractions themselves? And do you consider things like I know the eatery that's in Marvel Superhero Island features a lot of these characters. Is that an attraction which, now has these characters off limits? You can see right here that they sell merch off of these characters for sure. You can see Black Panther part of that right there. And this is at the Superhero Island at Islands of Adventure. But you can see Black Panther depicted in various pieces of artwork on the walls and all of that. Again, I have heard the same thing as Capture the Magic has, that these characters are off limits if they're depicted anywhere. But how legally bound is Disney? They're going to be pushing the line on all of this stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me, especially if we have Doctor Strange making meet and greet appearances in Disney's Hollywood Studios as far as Dollywood Nights. They are kind of stretching it a little bit. We'll see how far that goes.
Right, and it looks like with the agreement too is that he can be a standalone, but he can't be surrounded necessarily with the restricted Avengers characters such as Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. So it kind of would be a standalone. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it had to be standalone. That's absolutely for sure. Very, very good info right there. Thank you so much, Disney55, for keeping that up right there. We also have, I think Lestat came in here and said, hey, who told everybody about Fantastic Dragon? That was me back in 2022. You are correct. Mr. Marty there coming in with the big dragon news that, hey, from what I understand, they were working on all of that stuff. And then not so much. So hopefully we actually get them for the 35th anniversary of the Fantasmic show at Disneyland. Let's see right here. I'm just examining a lot of the chats that we have starred right here, just making sure that we didn't miss anything very, very, very big. I don't want to go ahead and leave you all hanging. Freedom Seeker right here, didn't Thomas Muslim allude to the Infinity Defense ride system being a prototype ride system at the press event at Disneyland as Disneyland president just before he got the promotion? Yes, I do believe I heard something like that. That was part of the media symposium back in February, I do believe. Like you said, right before he actually becomes the Experiences chairman. I thought something like that came out, but I'm not seeing anything groundbreaking in terms of this being a brand new ride system that we've never seen, especially as it relates to the existing ride system at Peter Pan in Tokyo. So that's going to be very interesting. Remy D, just because the Infinity Defense uses the scoop vehicles doesn't mean it won't be innovative or big in scope. We don't know how the environments will be. Oh, certainly. There's no question. I'm not saying that this is a bad ride system. Obviously, from what I understand, a lot of people enjoy this. And if in fact Imagineering is really, wanting to make use of this ride system in other places, like maybe perhaps Villains Land, obviously they find a lot of value in it. Certainly when you look at stuff like, Ratatouille over there at Epcot, or maybe even Disney Adventure World, that's a much different attraction than Rise of the Resistance. Same ride system. Boo's Honey Hunt and all of that, Mystic Manor, all of those using that same wirelessly controlled ride system that they have been implementing at multiple attractions, like previously bore out. You can really take these things, and even if they're well established, you can change them in, even small ways, and really make big, meaningful impacts on that experience. Soarin' versus Flight of Passage, right? At the heart of it, very similar ride systems, very similar tech, but illustrated in very differing ways, and obviously they are two distinct experiences. So certainly, I'm hoping, they really utilize the tech already established in new creative ways that really wows us. I'm not sure. I know that people, when they were looking at all the experiences at Fantasy Springs, they kind of rated Peter Pan as one of the lower ones, which was a little bit unfortunate. We'll see. Maybe they've overcome some of those issues. Everest Carmageddon says Josh should announce timelines, specific timetables, and updated blue sky images. They're the only downside in doing that, especially for projects that are so far out, is now you're kind of held to those timelines, and some people actually defer their vacations because of that. So, what happens if you don't meet those dates? It gets really messy, and I think Disney enjoys it being as vague as possible for as long as possible, right? This is why for Encanto, we know a lot of that stuff. Tropical America is going to be there 2027. We don't quite know any of the other timelines. I think they enjoy that. Maybe we do get timelines for stuff like Monsters Inc., but Villains Land so far out, I just don't think we're going to actually get that. But a very, very good chat indeed right here. Will Disney announce Doctor Strange coming to Disney World again? It's possible indeed. I think Freedom Seeker actually said earlier, bring back Light Magic, or Light Tragic as it was known, right? The Main Street Electrical Parade replacement making its way down the parade route at Disneyland in 1997 as a replacement to the beloved Main Street Electrical Parade back then, only playing for one season. And boy, what a season it was. So I still do want to do my electrical parade, kind of retrospective right there with Vash and Vixen. It's just timeline-wise, it just hasn't quite worked out. But trust me, folks, we will be getting plenty of electrical parade coverage out of Vash and Vixen in a not-so-distant future right
it's
there.
It's a good
That's
story.
Gonna be really cool.
It's a good
That's
story.
That's a great story.
You got to do it. It's the Real Adventures. I agree it's going to be Transformers 2.0. So that's what the worry is.
Yeah.
You've got a story about Transformers the year it came out.
Yeah, the year it opened right there, which was 2012. If everybody, it can re-examine their history for just a second, you'll remember that Cars Land, Buena Vista Street, and Transformers opened all the same year. And from Disney's perspective, that was the big reimagining of all of Disney Hollywood Adventure after the $1.2 billion investment that they made for that park right there. Really turned the prospects around. It was huge. It was monstrous. It was awesome. It was amazing. And Radiator Springs Racers was fantastic, right? Everybody thought, oh my goodness gracious, you've re-engineered the test track system and incorporated all these themed elements. People were in love with that attraction. They still are. But Transformers also opened, replacing Backdraft and the Studio Tour show thing that they had down there in the lower lot. When that opened right there, that was the one that actually won the Themed Entertainment Association Award that year for Best Attraction over Radiator Springs Racers. Very controversial. Maybe DCA getting its own version of Transformers, 14, 15, 16 years, whenever this thing opens, right? After Transformers actually took the award from Radiator Springs Racers. So,
can you imagine?
Very interesting.
Can you imagine?
It's kind of interesting, right? It's like, this thing sits right next door to Radiator Springs Racers. So, who knew? It's just,
who knew?
What comes around goes around. Transformers isn't my favorite ride. It's my Real Ventures right here, but it really is technologically advanced. I'll always give it props for that. Yeah, when those projectors are very, very clear, right? When the sound's going and everything's going fantastic, it is quite the experience. But honestly, myself personally, I think Spider-Man's the superior scooped vehicle motion simulator. So that's just me. That's my point of view right there. Maybe perhaps Infinity Defense will deliver something totally new, totally revolutionary, and blow those other attractions away. I'm hoping so. I like the best, no matter where it comes from. But we'll see. Back to the Future. I know, caption.
Bring back to the Future.
I know. And I was gonna get into it with Wizard. Didn't have time though. But that Back to the Future show building, not in Florida, but at Universal Studios Hollywood. That's gonna be maybe not lasting very much longer right there. So if you like Simpsons, get on it while the getting's good. We'll see. Bring back up Neo. Go and destroy Space Mountain at Disney World. Very sad. I agree there, Starport73. I would love for Space Mountain to continue, right? But I think one of the things, and Braden brought out a lot of great points in this video. One of the things, though, he didn't quite bring up that I would have. Just, I'm not criticizing Braden. Big Views is awesome. It's fantastic. It's incredible. Just a fantastic content creator. And I'm actually featured in that video, which is cool. So that's pretty awesome right there. But one of the things
you made it.
Indeed, right? One of the things I would have highlighted was it's expensive to maintain these aging attractions, especially from Arrow. You got to think, right? Arrow, it went away in the 90s because of X, right? And all of the things associated with that whole project out there at Six Flags Magic Mountain, which is unfortunate, which is very, very sad, because Arrow had so many attractions and all kinds of theme parks, not the least of which being Disneyland, but also theme parks all across the country, maybe even all across the world. To lose Arrow in that way was tragic, but a lot of the Arrow technologies and so forth of the 1970s were imbued into the 75 version of Space Mountain when it opened in Magic Kingdom there. The problem is Arrow's not around. Where do you get those parts? How do you maintain these things, especially long term? And the survey results for that attraction, I'm sure, have been going down as, the coasters like Velocicoaster, Cosmic Rewind, which is right next door, right? Relatively speaking. Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. As all of those attractions, right, they come on. They're phenomenal. They're awesome. They're amazing. This 50-year-old coaster, well, obviously the standards change. So at what point do you take that leap and say, you know what, we have to not just maintain this coaster, we have to replace it, because it's just not necessarily up to the standards that we have. And also too, if you're going in there, which a lot of that's not the code, if you start significantly changing stuff, even if you do retrack it, you can't necessarily recreate that experience because it's just not up to modern code. So at what point do you say, you know what, we're going to bite the bullet and we're going to go ahead and reimagine this thing altogether? I think that's where Disney's at right there. And look, if this is not delivering the ROI, we heard Josh G. Morrow actually talk about that at length during the last earnings call there for Q3 fiscal year 2026 there. He said all of this stuff is heavily scrutinized. Look, you got to think, right? It's like 50-year-old coaster, diminishing returns, increasing budgets to maintain, or you bite the bullet now, you heavily reimagine that, and maybe make a brand new experience that is that can stand up, right, to the coasters in its proximity. I think it's where they're going there, which is sad, but perhaps understandable, given the circumstances. I will say, though, if you like that kind of coaster, its cousin exists at Disneyland, obviously opening in 1959 as the first tubular steel roller coaster, and obviously that was facilitated by Arrow with design from Bob Gurr. Here's the problem with that one, though. That suffers from a lot of the weaker elements that may have sunk the prospects of Space Mountain 75 to continue. Problem is, that right there is not housed within a 300-foot wide, 180-foot tall dome like that, right? Or cone. That's a mountain, and that track is interwoven in there, and it's like, how do you replace that? Or do you? Or is the Matterhorn part of our future at Disneyland? These are big questions, and things I'm sure the Disneyland crew is trying to suss out, and looking at the Orlando crew and figuring out whether or not this is going to be something that's going to work for them as well. Very interesting stuff.
Big question.
Oh, yeah.
And Starport 73, bring back Captain EO. I agree. I mean, just open it up. It's there. Just turn it on. It only takes a few cast members.
Well,
but the funny thing is, they're selling an interactive foosball. So they're going to be selling. They sell merch off of Captain EO. Bring back Captain EO. I agree.
Well, here's the thing, this is Van 55, when it comes to that. From what I understand, the Captain EO Theater, I think, is still open, the Magic Eye Theater, right? The Tomorrowland Theater.
Yes.
It's been rebranded several times, so I do apologize. Where Captain EO historically played. When it opened, 1986, I do believe? When it opened, right? And it played, and obviously to tremendous success, and we have nostalgic moments going back all through that time right there. Again, this was a way to imbue the park with stuff that's a little bit more relevant, plays towards teens and so forth. And obviously that was all about the lead up to Star Tours. That would open in 1987. Anywho's, $17 million film, one of the most expensive per minute at that point, which was crazy. But that theater is technically open. I do believe they opened it quite some months ago right there, which was a surprise because they didn't announce that it was going to open, and I think it plays Pixar shorts. Now, it might have a limited schedule there, at least during the hottest parts of the day, but like you said, it only takes a couple of cast members to run, if that at all, and we have something in there. It wouldn't be that big of a stretch, because I think Disney still has the rights to that, in order to showcase it. It wouldn't take all that much to get Captain EO back in there, and I'm shocked that they didn't actually have it play during the 70th anniversary. What a better way to showcase the history than by actually restoring some of it in the form of Captain EO. Could have at least had that for the 70th nights that they had. Anyway, that's a whole big deal right there. Hopefully Captain EO comes back in some way.
It's got the real trash cans. It's got the real trash cans. Come on,
true.
dude.
Turn the others into trash cans.
See you later, trash cans.
It's so good.
It's so good, right? Sean, formerly artist, the artist formerly known as John, actually coming in here controversial. Hey, you know what? Michael I think it did well over $1 billion. Michael 2's coming out. Michael's never been more relevant at this point. Freedom Seeker coming in here with the resurgent popularity of Michael Jackson with the biopic movie, and younger audiences, Captain EO is a no-brainer. I know, it's crazy that we didn't actually get that, especially with Michael out there. Oh my goodness gracious. Like I said, I made over $1 billion. Come on. Okay. Let's see right here. Capture the Magic. Maybe Thriller comes to HHN next year. That would be huge. And they're doing more music stuff. We got Slash going in there. We've got Ozzy going in there. Come on, let's get some Michael Jackson. Indeed. I think that would be phenomenal. Callaway Coaster says, I actually think that we will see Villains Land get some further details and even a dark boat ride featuring all the villains. And you fight them all alongside Sorcerer Mickey. That's a very interesting concept right there. I actually heard back in the day of of a boat ride concept, actually envisioned originally for, what was it? It was this was the precursor actually to Avatar. Wait, not Avatar. Pirates of the Caribbean, Shanghai. What am I thinking? I'm thinking because they're using the same ride system, but allegedly. So Pirates of the Caribbean at Shanghai Disneyland. Obviously, you have that moving boat ride system, right? Originally, that was constructed for a villains themed ride that was going to be at Fantasyland, perhaps in that new Fantasyland area. Now, obviously, as history dictated, that didn't actually happen. That didn't actually proceed, and that those concepts were readapted for their use at Shanghai's Pirates of the Caribbean attraction, and may actually be reused for Avatar at Disney California Adventure. I'd like to see more information on that, but I'll take what we can get, I suppose. I did hear that they were reusing that same ride system and adapting it for Villains Land. But now Jim Bishola is saying, well, that might actually be the case. We will see regarding all of this. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. The other thing, too, about all of this is that, let's say you do put the boat ride system into Villains Land, right? Well, you got to think, that's a one-of-a-kind system right there. So when it comes to maintenance and everything else, that's a bit maybe harder to maintain than something that might use a lot of the same parts, and especially from Oceaneering, right? That some of the other ride systems use, if in fact they're going with that Tokyo Peter Pan ride system. I thought what was very interesting about the discussion, at least as it relates to Disneyland, right? I think Drew Taylor brought it out in his article on the Wrap right here. He was talking about the fact that maybe, perhaps, right, Zootopia could be included and incorporated into DCA as a replacement for Avatar, and with its Hot Pursuit attraction sharing so many of the same parts as Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, that could be maybe a justification to reduce those maintenance costs that would be incurred if in fact they went with a more original ride system like the Pirates of the Caribbean Shanghai system. I thought it was interesting. I've never quite heard that commentary before, but it makes sense now that you have so many things being heavily scrutinized from the Experiences Division, trying to get all of that ROI and all that revenue for those quarterly earnings. So very interesting indeed. There's a lot of stuff going on right here. I'm trying to see, are we going to get anything from the media tonight? It's my last opportunity. Okay, they're showing Pixar stuff now. They're really taking their time with all of this stuff. So they showed Disney Animation, now they're showing Pixar. Let me just see. Let me just check other parts of X right here to see if we actually get lucky. Let's see right here. Nope. Jared Bush just teased Mickey 100 project in development at Disney Animation. That's interesting. Well, I'd love to see that. Because Mickey, he's turning 100. So that's pretty big, but it would be a no-go, guys. We're not getting anything from Experiences, at least right now. It doesn't mean that some things might actually pop off a little bit later, but we're just a little bit too early. So that's most unfortunate. And guess what, folks? We have the M4 Empire, which is currently in progress. I think he's got Lauren on and all kinds of stuff. So we got to get you on over there. Do apologize. Hopefully you enjoyed this 2-hour presentation of our amazing Thursday night program right here. Very, very cool. I just love talking about all of this stuff. And we're going to be talking about it so much more on Vash and Vixen on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So definitely tune in for that show right there. We're going to be talking all about D23 and the festivities that have taken place on tomorrow and on Saturday morning right there. That should be really, really fun. So definitely tune in for that. Should be fantastic. And again, at 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, 7 p.m. California time. That is when the Experiences Showcase will kick off. And I do plan on being either a part of a live stream or hosting a live stream, watching that along with all of you. I think it's going to be really phenomenal. I cannot wait to do that because I think it's going to be really, really cool. So I'll have all those updates and all those posts and so forth attached to both my social media at VashSky on X and also on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have those notifications on all those various platforms. You can find Disney Fan 55 herself on X as well. That's going to be Disney Fan 55 without the E. You can go ahead and get that right there. I think that just about covers it right there. Yeah, we need more indoor large capacity rides that don't break down. I agree, Avarice Carmageddon. That would be fantastic, and maybe that's why they don't actually do kind of these wirelessly controlled rides anymore, because they take up a lot of space, and they're not nearly as reliable as some of those, stalwarts, maybe perhaps in those Fantasyland dark rides found at Disneyland. Interesting enough. All right, that just about concludes our show. We got to get on out of here. Let me just make sure that everything is set up to get you transferred over to the M4 Empire. I do believe it is. Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for the 200 of you out there, both on X and YouTube. Very much appreciate that. I know we went rapid fire. I know we went fast, but hopefully you like that show right there. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Again, Fashion Vixen, to all you Skywatchers out there, at least it's going to be a Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, live stream somewhere, sometime, going over the Experiences Showcase at 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. We will see you all later. Enjoy the weekend. Remember, it's D23 Expo weekend. Holy smokes. The ultimate fan event, whatever you want to call it. We're out. Remember, folks, the sky is the limit.